Hey there, makers! It's Nara from KnitLeaks. We're thrilled to present to you our brand new series of Yarn Over the Globe, running until September. In this series, we're introducing our team of talented writers and collaborators here at KnitLeaks in a fun and entertaining format, the Tag Challenge. In this episode, our editor-in-chief Pris takes over the channel and interviews our writer Esperanza Rivera de Tor. Welcome to the colorful world of Fiberverse.
Hi everyone, I'm Pris, I'm KnitLeaks editor-in-chief, and today we'll talk to our writer Esperanza. So thank you, Espe. Please tell us your name, where you're from, where you live, and how you started knitting.
Hello, my name is Esperanza Rivera. I am from Madrid in Spain, but I live in Copenhagen in Denmark. I work here as an assistant professor in the university. I'm a biochemist, but during the night I knit. And how I started, it was during my PhD. I knew how to knit a little bit before I was learning on my own because I didn't have an aunt or a grandma that could teach me. But during my PhD, it was my way to soothe my nerves and to keep my hands busy when my mind was going super fast.
What's your favorite color? Do you have a specific shade or palette that you gravitate towards?
I would say that my favorite color changed a lot. I'm sorry, I'm not this kind of person that is, I'm a blue person or a red person. I think that lately I really love yellow, all shades of yellow. And usually for knitting things for myself, I choose some shades that are quite natural, just because that way I can combine it with whatever. But if I have to choose a color, I will go with yellow.
What's your favorite place in the world? Is there a particular location that inspires your crafting or brings you peace and relaxation?
One of my favorite places is Tivoli Gardens in Copenhagen. I actually have an annual pass, and every time that I don't know where to go, I go for a walk there. For me, you get in there and all the problems disappear. And during summer, they have a grass area where I really like sitting and knitting a little bit. So I would say it is one of my favorite places.
What's your favorite TV series? Do you like to watch TV or listen to podcasts while you craft?
I usually tend to lose myself when I listen to podcasts or to audiobooks, but I really, really love watching series. So Lost, I would say, is one of my favorites ever, because it looks like when it got into the end, everything was very well tied up. I also like a lot Supernatural. I know it's a super long one, but I've seen all the series and it's one of my favorites. And I would say that the latest one that I'm watching and I'm loving is The Expanse. Again, I think it's because they are super good at creating new worlds, new complete worlds where rules are different. And I really love that when you can get very deep into a TV series and you keep looking for stuff after on the internet because you want to know more than what they tell you.
If you're not crafting, what are you doing? Do you have other hobbies or interests that you enjoy?
If I am not crafting, usually I'm playing board games. It's one of my biggest hobbies that I share with my husband. And we usually play either magic cards or some Euro games, which are a little bit more heavy, in which you have to train your brain to work with different resources. And I think it came a little bit also tied with my work, where we actually have to be very good at planning in the long term. So I really like board games. That would be my second biggest hobby. Apart of being a scientist, I work as a technical editor of knitting patterns and also as a translator. Recently, I have included the translation from English to Spanish and Spanish to English. I have to say that it's a work that if you want to do it well, it consumes a lot of resources. So that's why I take very few customers, the ones that I can truly take care for, because my work is already very time consuming. And if I want to do something, I want to do it right. So I usually take very little customers that I can take care of. And my work as a technical editor consists of checking that all the instructions are correct, that the instructions are clear, even for somebody that doesn't know how to knit everything, to make sure that all the information necessary to replicate the piece is there. And so far, I've been specialized on making sure that the sizes are correct, because it's, as a plus size as I am, it's very frustrating when you buy a lot of yarn and then it doesn't fit as it should be, or your garment doesn't appear as the one in the photo because there were modifications or there were some things on the proportion that were not taken into account. So that's what I do as a technical editor.
What's your favorite type of yarn and why? Are you drawn to specific fibers, wastes, or textures?
I knit very, very fast. Not because I'm nervous, just because I think that I have specialized my technique in continental and I knit very fast. So I prefer fingering just because it stays for longer. But I also like sport. If I have to choose one weight, it's a sport because it can be used in a lot of different garments. Every time that they choose a fingering plus mohair, like fingering plus lace, you can substitute it by a sport. And I really, really like the sport weight. I think it's still light, but it has this fingering weight, so it's not very heavy, and it runs faster, so you finish your garments faster. And about a kind of or type of fiber, I would choose merino. I think it's my favorite. I'm not a super, super huge fan of mohair. I would say that plain merino 100% without polyamide or anything else, I would say that's my favorite fiber.
Which needle size do you most often work with? Do you have a go-to needle size or switch it up depending on the project?
I would say that the needle size that I use the most is between 3 millimeters and 4 millimeters. And I would say that every time that I want to try a new kind of needle, and that's an advice for everybody that is going to listen to me, don't buy a full pack. Just buy a pair and see how it goes. And the pair that I always buy to see if I like a kind of yarn or a kind of cable is between 3 to 4 millimeters. And it's usually what goes with this fingering sport yarn.
Which yarn and project are you currently working on? Do you have any exciting whips or upcoming projects that you're looking forward to?
I'm usually very, very disciplined. So I have only 1 or 2 work in progress at a time. And right now, the thing that I'm knitting is the Sparky pullover from Andrea Mori. It's knitted in a sport weight. And I like that it has a very easy color work in the yoke. And the best thing ever is that you knit pockets. And pockets are fantastic. I think that every woman that have tried to buy jeans got home and then realized that it doesn't have pockets, loves pockets. So that's one of the things that I love about this design.
Are there any new or lesser known yarn brands that you're curious about? Which brand or type of yarn would you like to try?
I'm very curious about the yarns from Wool Dreamers because I can see that they're expanding all over Europe. And there is one kind of yarn that I haven't tried for them, which is the Mancelopis, which is like this spoon yarn. And I'm really looking forward to try it. I've tried the Plotulopi, which would be the Icelandic equivalent, but I heard that it's different and is less scratchy since it's not loppy, it's merino. So that would be one of the ones that I'm most curious to work with.
How does crafting make you feel, and what role does it play in your life? What are your thoughts on crafting?
So for me, crafting means having my hands busy. So for me, it's very difficult to be doing something and not having something on my hands. In fact, right now I'm having this interview and I'm with a pen from one side to the other of my hand. And I think it helps me to focus. And it's something that I think it not only works for me because I'm a professor in the university, and you can see here in Denmark how some students bring the knitting to the class. And it's something very curious because in other cultures, you would say, he's not paying attention to me. But you can see that the students that are knitting are the ones that don't move the eyes from you all the time. And usually they are super good students, I have to say. So for me, it's a way to focus. And another thing that I like about knitting and crafting in general is that it's not only the act of crafting, it's all the planning around. I think it plays a very important role from choosing a yarn that you like, a color that fits your mood, a garment that you are going to dedicate the time to give to another person, or that you think it fits on your wardrobe. I think it's a very thoughtful way of filling a big gap of in your time every day, but meaningful. So at the end, you get something with craft. So that's something that I like.
That's all for today. Thank you for watching and see you next week. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for tuning into today's episode. We hope you enjoyed it, and please don't forget to give us a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. Be sure to turn on notifications to stay up to date on our future content. You can also follow us on Instagram and Spotify. We truly appreciate your support and can't wait to catch up with you all next week. We have plenty of exciting knitting adventures and events planned, so stay tuned.